what's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And, today I had to finish up a conversation that started yesterday. We started off yesterday talking about some stuff going on with the rapper Ice Cube, who has come on this channel a couple of times recently. And he seems like a good brother. I've known him for a couple months, and I like what I see. I like what I hear. And we've had some extensive conversations about politics and what's going on in the world right now when it comes to Black people. We talked a lot about, whether these politicians really care about Black people, whether, how we should view and decide to view, anybody who, say, sits down with the Trump or the Biden campaigns or whatever the case may be, right? And here's the thing. I am not one to sit here and tell you what to believe. I told you guys I don't believe in that. I'm one who is more interested in getting you to consider and to think through all sides of the conversation. Okay, so that's what the discussion is going to be. And today I was running with Alicia. Alicia got me out here running, because she don't want me to get fat again. And we were just kind of talking about this decision that Cube made to go meet with Trump and the reaction that many people have to that decision, almost like he violated some sort of rule, like almost like you're not allowed to do that. Like if you're Black, you're not allowed to talk to the other side without the permission of white people. And that sounds a lot like slavery to me. I don't know about y'all, but that sounds a lot like slavery to me. This ain't 1802, but that's what it is. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you want to know if it sounds like I'm talking a little bit funny, it's because I am in the middle of a 6-month process to do things with my dental health. And so I've got some crazy stuff kind of going on in my mouth. So that's why I talk a little bit funny. So when somebody comes in and they get distracted because, some Negroes can't pay attention, then just tell them, hey, look, it's dental work. Like get your dental work done too, because everybody needs to have healthy teeth. And that's why I'm talking a little bit funny. That's why I'm not talking as much like myself, but I want to be healthy. I'm a Black man who's trying to do better. So please cheer me on. Don't make too much fun of me. So anyway, do me a favor. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. And also what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to send out a little text to the tribe and let them know that we're live, because I think that the village needs to get together and have these conversations. I believe that the village needs to get together and have Black conversations. And Black conversations to me are discussions where we're guiding the dialogue. It's not something where, other people are telling us what we're allowed to talk about. You see, there's a lot of white folks who feel like Black people ain't allowed to have a conversation without their permission. Like what, Negro, we heard you was over there talking to the Republicans. Negro, you can't talk to no Republicans. We here to save you from racism. Well, it sounds like racism to me. If you're telling me who I'm allowed to talk to, who are you? I don't owe you nothing. I don't even know you. Like what have you done for me that has led me to even feel on any level that I owe you anything? Like I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you shit. I'm gonna talk to whoever the fuck I want to talk to. And me talking to somebody is not the same as me aligning my allegiance with somebody. So what I thought I would do to kind of help some of the less fortunate Negroes in our community, meaning the Black people who don't have a lot of self-esteem, maybe Black people who don't have a lot of critical thinking skill, maybe Black people who don't quite understand how negotiation works. What I decided to do was I said, you know what? I'm going to actually do a podcast this morning on the art of negotiation. Now, this is not going to be the opinion of Dr. Boyce. I'm going to give you some Dr. Boyce opinions. Now, of course, I approve this message because I'm the one who put it together, but this is actually based on negotiating theory. This is actually specific, like scientifically proven information on how you're supposed to negotiate when you don't want to get fucked. So any Black person in the room, all the Black people, all the Negroes who want to keep getting fucked, you can leave the room right now. All the Black people who love being slaves, please leave. If you like when white folks are peeing on you like R. Kelly, then you need to go see a therapist and get you some help, because it's not healthy for people to pee on you all the time. So if you're in that category, then please leave the room. The people I want to stay are the Black people who actually want what's best for the Black community. Because if we can't start a discussion on this important issue without at least agreeing that the needs of Black people matter more than the needs of white people, then we can't even talk anymore. Like, we can't even talk. We're about 100 years apart, in discussion. If we can't even agree that Black people should come first, then I don't know what to. I don't know what to say to you. I know I see your kids are watching. It's morning when I'm recording this, so maybe I shouldn't cuss so much. My daddy used to cuss in front of me, so blame it on my daddy. It ain't my fault. But at the end of the day, if you can't even agree that Black people matter more than Joe Biden, like I see Michael and he's defending his massa. Here come the Biden bashing. You out here bashing mama. But Joe Biden is good to the Negroes. Why you bashing Joe Biden? Well, you need to take your silly butt back and go read the Biden crime bill. And you need to go read the parts where he was talking about trying to put 100,000 people in prison. You need to go watch his old speeches where he's talking about how there's 100,000 of these kids out here, these super predators with single mothers that need to be removed from society. You need to go listen to that. And because at the end of the day, if you can't hear some of that and see some of that and have a problem with some of that, then, it's okay. Like, maybe you shouldn't be here. Like, there's plenty of places. There's plenty of places that coons gather so they can coon together and make each other feel better. Like, they can pet each other up like the raccoons do up in the woods or whatever. Like it's really there are people who will support you in your addiction to white supremacy. You can find a white supremacist support group, and they'll sit down with you and they will confirm your beliefs that are clearly flawed. But I have something that's going to probably upset you, and it's called data. You see, this thing called data and facts and information is going to bother you because it doesn't fit your pre-existing narrative that somehow you owe something to the Democratic Party. It's going to bother you when you have to hear this, because it's going to be so different from what you've been taught since you were a child, because you're taught to be a white supremacist from the time you're born. A big percentage of the white supremacists in America are Black. We act like white supremacy is only a white people thing. No, white supremacy can be a Black people thing too. So do me a favor, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, another person who has a lot to say about this, who, a lot of the hip hop artists and stuff like that consult with him now. I'm glad that they do, because they should, is Dr. Claude Anderson. And Dr. Anderson and I today at 2 p.m., we will begin our Powernomics Masterclass, where we're going to go through the book Powernomics, which is one of the greatest economic books ever written in the history of all mankind. If you have kids that are going to go to college, they should all read Powernomics. And we're going to spend 8 weeks covering this book. If you'd like to join us, you can go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Use the code word podcast, and you can get 30% off. Enrollment shuts down at 2 p.m. today. So you can go to powernomicsmasterclass.com, use the code word podcast, and you get 30% off. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. So let me break this down for you on negotiation. Here's the reason why Ice Cube sitting down with Trump is the smartest move he could have ever made. In fact, it's a reflection of how backward we are that his move is considered to be so radical. I know people are screaming and hollering, people are getting mad, and that's a good sign. That's a good sign, because the flare-up shows that you're doing something that's making a difference. In Kentucky, we have this saying that the hit dog always hollers. The hit dog always hollers. And so when you do something and you're doing exactly what they've been telling you to do, then they don't respond. They don't react to that. They say, good Negro, good job, good Michael. I see Michael in there. Michael, I'm gonna have to put you out of the chat, Michael, because you just a troll. Let me just put Michael out of here. All right, Michael, have a nice day, brother. You go hang out with the Republicans or the Democrats or whoever, whichever white person you love, whichever racist you like the most. Just go hang out with them. But the thing about it is, when you start standing up for yourself, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I've ever seen a relationship where one person is really using the other person. Like, think about it. The ladies can identify with this, because maybe you've had a man use you for booty calls or whatever. Or maybe fellas, maybe you've had a woman who used you, but didn't really want to take it there with you, right? Didn't really respect you, didn't really want to give you the best that she had, but she would use you when she needed you and kind of dismiss you when she didn't need you. And ladies go through this a lot. I hear ladies talk about this a lot. So think about this. What happens on the day where you finally say, I'm not doing this anymore. Like this doesn't work for me anymore, right? What happens when you say, I need a little bit more. I need a better deal. Well, what's going to happen? He's going to get pissed. He's going to call you all kinds of bitches and dog you out and and any trigger that he has to affect you emotionally, he's going to pull it. He's going to pull every trigger he can. Right? Like you ever see see guys like, hey, excuse me, sweetheart, you looking good, girl. Can I talk to you for a minute? And you keep on walking. And then some of those guys, like, suddenly it goes from, you look good, beautiful. And then it's like, yo, raggedy bitch. Fuck you, bitch. Right? The same guy who was telling you how beautiful you were when he thought he might be able to get something from you, now he's calling you a raggedy bitch because he's mad. He's mad because he never really liked you. He never cared about you. He only wanted to get something from you. And when you let him know it wasn't going to go down like that, that his standards are going to have to raise, and if he's going to get your attention, then suddenly he starts acting like a little boy. Well, that's kind of what I see when I see white supremacist politics. White supremacist politics is where Black people are continuously rewarded for being well behaved. When Black people do what they want us to do, when we follow the program, when we follow the paradigm, and we do exactly what we do in every election, right? The pastor gathers up all the Negroes and takes them to the polls. They don't know why they're going. They just know they're going because the pastor told them. Or they'll trigger you. They'll trigger you by telling you that the other candidate is super scary and that Donald Trump's going to come and put everybody in chains and reinstitute slavery. And that's all they know, right? And it's really a very primitive way of thinking in the sense that it's like, if you ask them, like, really, I want you to go ask one of them, like, why are you going to vote? They'll be like, well, because we're supposed to, or because that Donald Trump, we got to get that Donald Trump out of office, right? Like that's in that. And I see that when I hear that, I hear programming. I'm like, wow, they really did a good job of programming you, because you probably can't even really articulate why you're supporting one guy. And you also can't really fully articulate why you're afraid of the other person, right? So what it is, it's a process, right? And it's going to keep working. I mean, people like me, we're the minority. The majority of people are going to do what they're told, and that's just what it is. So let me kind of break down to you, though, from a scientific standpoint, using scientifically proven negotiating tactics, that what Ice Cube is doing is actually the perfect strategy. I'm gonna break this down. This is an article from a guy named Ed Brodo. Ed is a negotiation expert. And Ed basically gives you 10 rules for effective negotiation. Now, I'm sharing this with you under the assumption that we are Black first. Hashtag B1. Put a hashtag B1 in the chat if you agree with me that Black people matter the most. If you agree with me that Black needs are important. If you agree with me that solving the problem is the most important thing in the world, then put a B1, hashtag B1 in the chat. If we can't start there, then none of this applies. Right? If you think that white people matter more than Black people, then it doesn't work. If you think that Joe Biden matters more than your family, then it doesn't work. If you think loyalty to the Democrats trumps everything else, then it doesn't work. So here's how you negotiate a better deal for Black people, because we are in the middle of a massive negotiation, an ongoing negotiation. So here's what he says. He says that the rules of negotiation. Number one, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Successful negotiators are assertive, and they challenge everything. They know that everything is negotiable. I call this negotiation consciousness. Negotiation consciousness is what makes the difference between negotiators and everybody else. Being assertive means asking for what you want and refusing to take no for an answer. We want reparations, or you ain't getting shit from us. Like, I refuse to take no for an answer. He says, practice expressing your feelings without anxiety or anger. So maybe I'm making a mistake, right? And that maybe my anger is undermining my ability to negotiate. So maybe I should just say, well, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you want my vote for free, but my vote doesn't come for free. So, but you can have it. I'd love to give it to you. God, Mr. Biden, I would love to support you. And if you want me to support you, all you got to do is just go out and make reparations part of your 100-day plan, and you will get my vote, right? Like, so he says, note that there's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. You are assertive when you take care of your own interests. Pay attention, Black people. Look, the low self-esteem Negroes in the back. I need y'all to listen. He says, when you take care of your own interests while maintaining respect for the interests of others. So look, I respect the fact that you're trying to get elected. I respect the fact that you think Donald Trump is an ass. Maybe he is, right? But you got to understand when I tell you that I got a community to look out for. As a black man, I'm one of the defenders of my people, and I can't come in here and just give you something for nothing. I mean, come on, Mr. Biden. I mean, would you do that? Would you give us something for nothing? Like, would you do that? I don't think he would. So let's keep going. When you see your own interests with a lack of regard for other people's interests, you are being aggressive. Being assertive means being a part of the negotiating process. So here's the other thing. He says challenge means not taking things at face value. It means thinking for yourself. See, that's another big problem we have. We have too much group think. You know, I'm determined to be an independent thinker. And when Ice Cube came on this channel, if you notice, he went out of his way to say, I'm not here to represent anybody's interests but black people. He's like, I'm not here to be loyal to a party. I'm not here to be loyal to a set. I'm not here to be loyal to any group except for black people. And that independent thinking is extremely important if you're going to negotiate. So he says you have to be an independent thinker. This is a white man who wrote this article. He said you must be able to make up your own mind as opposed to believing everything you are told. So when they're programming you, again, this is in contradiction to what we're seeing. What we're seeing in media is they're telling black people stuff. They're telling you what to think. They're telling you what your opinion's supposed to be. They're telling you how you're supposed to react to things. And there are some people, again, because watching black people watch, pay attention, listen now, pay attention. Y'all listening? Give me a yes if you're listening. Studies show that black people watch more television than any other group of people in America. We watch more television, we do more social media. One effect of watching too much TV is that it disrupts and it almost deteriorates your prefrontal cortex, your frontal lobes. Your frontal lobes are the part of your brain that you use for critical thinking. Did y'all know that? How many of y'all knew that? How many of y'all knew that? That literally watching too much TV, that's why you don't want to put your kids just in front of the TV, because it undermines their frontal lobes. That's why you see millions of people who aren't capable of making their own decision. They're only capable of receiving programming because their brain has never fully developed the ability to make rational, intelligent decisions. Right. So I'm not making fun of them. I'm stating the fact. You can Google this. You can look this up. So he talks about the importance of thinking for yourself. So maybe part of the reason that we're such bad negotiators, because you can't argue in a million years that black people have been the winners in this political negotiation. I mean, give me a yes or no if you think that voting in every election has dramatically improved the black community. Yes or no? Like, do you think that voting in every election, give me a yes or no in the chat. The yes or no, has voting in every election improved our economic situation? Yes or no? Has voting in every election improved our situation when it comes to education? Like, are our kids just being super educated now? Yes or no? Yes or no? Has voting in every election improved our situation when it comes to incarceration? Yes or no? Or the criminal justice system? Yes or no? Yes or no? Has voting in every election improved our situation when it comes to urban violence and urban decay? Yes or no? When you go to Democratic Party run districts and there's garbage everywhere and torn down buildings, and of course none of these people live in those districts, right? I mean, really, I think that's a valid point to be made, that a lot of these people, you know, the slumlords who run these districts, they're like, oh no, I'm not going to live there, right? Well, why not? Why wouldn't you want to live in the district that you run? Well, you ever hear people say, well, you don't, if you got kids, cover their ears, because I'm about to say this in the rawest form, you don't shit where you eat, right? So basically they're eating on the fancy side of town, but they're shitting in your neighborhood. They're shitting in the black neighborhood, because those neighborhoods are shit. Those neighborhoods are torn apart, a lot of them, right? So let me keep going. Let me read more. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button right now and share this video if you know anybody that needs to learn how to up their negotiating game. Number 2, he says, one tactic for negotiation is to shut up and listen. He says that when you are a negotiator, you want to find out what other people want so you can give them what they want and you can get what you want, right? So this is going to help you whether you're talking about negotiating for a car or you're negotiating with a woman or in a relationship. Like when I negotiate with Alicia, I learned a long time ago, this is a little secret for men and women. The best way to get your partner to give you what you want is to find out what they value and give it to them, right? If I find out what you want and I give you what you want, then love, real love, is supposed to be reciprocal. It's reflective, right? And if you're dealing with somebody where the love isn't reflective, where they just take and don't give, then you're in the wrong relationship. But love is supposed to be reflective. I find out what you want, so I'm gonna go give you what you want, and then you're gonna be really happy to give me what I want, right? So he says, shut up and listen. He says you can become an effective listener by allowing the other person to do most of the talking. Follow the 70-30 rule. Listen 70% of the time and talk 30% of the time. So that's a rule that doesn't apply to Ice Cube so much directly, but that's just some information so you can walk away as a smarter person. He said, number 3, do your homework. Gather as much pertinent information as you can prior to your negotiation. Number 4, this is a big one. This is really important. This applies directly to what's going on right now. Never be afraid to walk away from the table. Never be afraid to exercise your options. Never be afraid to say, thank you very much. I'm sorry we can't make a deal, but I'm about to go across town because maybe they'll have a better offer for me. Really. And so you think about this, right? This indignation that people have, this like, how dare you? How dare you go talk to Trump? How dare you, disloyal Conan? How dare you? Right? Well, I find that interesting because what you're leaning on is this idea that somehow he violated a code of loyalty that he was supposed to follow with the Democrats. Like he's supposed to be, like, you're supposed to be loyal, right? And a lot of white folks online, Ice Cube, I used to like your music and I don't like you no more because you ain't loyal. You don't know. What have they done? What has the Democratic Party done to earn loyalty from Black people? Like, or loyalty, if your loyalty is free and it's cheap, then it will have no value. Loyalty is supposed to be earned. I mean, why in the hell are there people that think it makes sense to be loyal to someone who is not loyal to you? That means you need mental help. You need a therapist if you're loyal to somebody who has consistently shown that they care nothing about you. What does he owe? Did the Democratic Party did they write a $50 billion check for urban renewal last year that I don't know about? Did they really step up and do something special for Black people that I'm not aware of? He don't owe them nothing. You don't owe them. Imagine if you're trying to go buy a car and you go talk to one car dealer at the Toyota shop and they say, here's a Corolla, the new Corolla is beautiful. And you're like, man, I really like that car. And he's like, yeah, it's only going to cost you $38,000. And you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to pay that. Like, can you come down on the price? And then he's like, well, no, I need you to pay the full $38,000. You're like, are you sure? Come on, man. I mean, I really like to get the car, but the price is a little too high. And then he's like, no, I can't change the price. And you're like, okay, no problem. And then you go, so you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go over to the Hyundai dealership, or I'm gonna go talk to another Toyota, another Corolla distributor to see if they can make a better deal, right? So you go talk to them, right? Let's say you go to another Toyota dealership and you say, well, how much would you charge me for that Corolla? And they're like, oh, well, we can give it to you for $36,000. And you're like, oh, okay, well, let's talk a little more, right? And then you get a phone call, and it's the other Toyota guy. What the fuck are you doing? I heard that you were over there at Bob's Toyota shop talking to him about buying a Corolla. Well, yeah, I was trying to get the best deal, and I asked you to reduce the price and you wouldn't do it. So I went to look for a better deal. I thought we were friends. What's wrong with you? You're a bad person. That ain't right. That's like stealing. How stupid and crazy would that sound? How ridiculous would that sound to you if the car dealer called you and cussed you out because you went to talk to another car dealer about getting a better deal on the car? Really? I mean, you would respond to him and be like, well, I wanted to buy the car from you. I really did. God, I wanted to get that car from you. But you refused to budge on the price. So because you made the decision to not budge on the price, you push me into the arms of another car dealer. So I'm going to give you both middle fingers and hang up on you, because the way you're talking to me right now implies that you got me all fucked up right now. You got this all twisted. You thought we had some sort of relationship. We ain't got no relationship. I asked you to change the price and you refused to do it. You thought about yourself. You had no loyalty to me. You had no desire to get my business. And I went to somebody who wanted my business more. That's exactly how a negotiation is supposed to go. People are not supposed to call you on the phone and cuss you out because you went to talk to a second car dealer to see if you could get a better deal. You're supposed to do that. If you go out and buy a car and you only talk to one person and only go to one dealership, then I'm sorry, that makes you stupid. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to be mean today, but I need to help y'all out. I'm going to help you out with some tough love and just say, if you go buy a car and you talk to one person and that's all you talk to, then you're setting yourself up to be screwed. If you go buy a house and you look at one house, me and Alicia are looking to buy a house. You know, what if we looked at one house and we're like, oh, we love this house. We got to have this house. We can't look at no other houses because that would be Boyce will think that was disloyal, and I don't want to get in trouble. So I only want this house, Boyce, right? And he overcharging you and everything, right? You're setting yourself up to be screwed. So some of y'all need some help, man. Seriously, some of y'all, like this whole Boyce we sick stuff is like insanity to me. It is absolutely unbelievable. Like, you can still love your favorite racist if you want to, right? If Biden is your favorite racist in this election, because Biden and Trump both have questionable histories, right? One of the guys wanted to give the death penalty to the Central Park Five, and the other one wanted to give the death penalty to the whole damn black community, right? So you pick your favorite racist. You can still vote for who you want, but my God, like, is there any space in your heart or in your mind or in your soul for you to consider the fact that maybe black people should matter in the way you make your decisions? That maybe it's okay to put yourself first. So anyway, let me keep going. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. We're talking about negotiation. We're talking about Ice Cube and Donald Trump and the Biden stuff. And don't forget, the Powernomics Masterclass is today at 2 p.m. If you'd like to join us, it's an 8-week program. Me and Dr. Anderson will go through the entire book of Powernomics. You can even get a certificate when you're done and put it on your wall. Feel free to go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Use the code word podcast. You get 30% off. The code word is podcast. All right. So the third rule, or next rule of negotiation, don't be in a hurry. This is a big one too. Don't be in a hurry. He said, being patient is very difficult for Americans. We want to get it over with. Anyone who has negotiated in Asia, South America, or the Middle East will tell you that people in those cultures look at time very differently than we do in North America and Europe. They know that if you rush, you are more likely to make mistakes and leave money on the table. Whoever is more flexible about time has the advantage. Pay attention, y'all. I'm giving you free game. This is how you can negotiate everything from your relationship to buying a car to anything to your pay raise on your job. Basically what he's saying here, and this is where this applies to this election thing. When they're talking to you about the urgency of moving forward, here's what I got. Here's the sense I got. And Ice Cube alluded to this when he talked about meeting with the Trump and Biden campaigns. He went to the Biden people first, if I'm not mistaken. And the Biden people said, yeah, we hear what you're saying, but we need you to go ahead and vote now. We need you to go ahead, tell everybody to vote, and then we'll talk about it after the election. Just make sure you vote. We need you to vote. We need you to vote, right? And a lot of the conversation around the election is urgency. It's like, no, we need you to do it now. We need you to, because this is life or death. If we have another 4 years of Trump, then the world's gonna blow up. We all gonna die, y'all. We all gonna die. So my reaction is, if it really means that much to you, like if it scares you that much, then why can't you just give black people some of what they want so that they'll be happy to go vote for you, right? Like if it scares you so much, then this obviously doesn't scare you, because you won't even say the word reparations. Like literally, pay attention. Ask you, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Have you ever heard Kamala Harris or Joe Biden even say the word reparations? Again, these are the people that want the black vote. When the Republicans come and they're really trying to get the black vote, then we'll talk about them as much. But I talk about the Democrats more because the Democrats are who we want to support. That's who we want to do the right thing. Like, that's our current That's our current girlfriend, or our current, or for ladies, that's your current boyfriend. The Democratic Party is the person that you're in the relationship with. And when you're negotiating in a relationship, you want your partner to do the right thing. So you're going to go to them first. If you have a need, you're going to go, like if I have a need, I'm going to go to Alicia before I go to some woman on the street. And I'm going to give her every opportunity to fulfill that need. I will only go start talking to another woman if she is insistent upon mistreating me, which she never would, by the way. She loves me to death. But if she was insistent upon not even hearing my needs, then I might be forced into the arms of somebody else, right? So a lot of this negotiation is where, Ice Cube or Black people in general are forced into the arms of other political parties to find out what they got going on, because the Democrats have consistently ignored their needs. So they haven't said the word reparations at all. And this sense of urgency, this sort of like, we need y'all to hurry up and vote, that's an opportunity for you to have leverage. So for those of us that are patient, we can sit here and say, well, dang, you don't want another 4 years of Trump. Ooh, you need to come around pretty quickly. You better hurry up, right? Because I can wait all day. I can deal, I don't know about y'all, but I can deal with another 4 years of Trump. That don't scare me. The first 4 years, I made it through that fine. I'm sure the next 4 years will be just like the first four. Everything's good. I'm investing. Life is the same. I'm raising my kids, so I can wait. I can wait. But can you wait? Maybe you can't wait, but I can wait, right? And that's how you gain leverage in a negotiation. Like, so when you go buy a car, don't be in a rush to buy the car. Don't be in a rush to buy the house. Take your time. Just like, hey, and then it comes back to options also. In negotiations, the person who has the most options typically wins. When my daughter or her friends will ask me questions about guys and how to deal with dudes or whatever, and I would just say, well, I can't tell you how to deal with your relationships, but I would say that typically 9 times out of 10, the person with the most options has the advantage. The person who says, I need you, I can't live without you, I have no other choice but to be with you, you're putting, if you say that to somebody, then they better be a damn good partner, because some people can use that shit against you. Like, you ever see that? You ever see somebody where they've literally convinced the other person that if I don't want you, nobody will. And if you don't stay with me, you won't be able to pay the rent by yourself, and you won't be able to survive, and you're going to be lonely for the rest of your life. Like, I've seen people do that, right, in relationships. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to do what any abuser does. What abusers do is they try to isolate you from your support, and they try to isolate you from your options. They try to convince you that they are the alpha and the omega of your life. Like, I'm going to take this lady, I meet this beautiful woman who's got a great supportive family in a place that she loves to be, and I'm going to move her out to Alaska. Like, if I'm an abusive man, I'm going to grab her, I'm going to move her all the way out to Alaska where she has no friends, has no support, and I'm going to convince her that all she's got is me. That gives me more leverage if I'm an abuser. So when the Democrats convince Black people that they are your alpha and they are your omega, you can't talk to any other party without their permission. You have no options without them. If they don't want you, then nobody will. Like, we're the only ones who want your Black ass. Donald Trump will put you in chains. Oh, you're complaining about us? Well, Donald Trump's going to reinstitute slavery and kill all of y'all, right? So when you do that, what they're doing is they're not just vilifying Trump, they are elevating themselves to the level of a god. Like, they're elevating themselves to the point where they're telling you, we are all you got. If you don't come with us, then you ain't got nothing, right? And my position on that is very basic. It says, no, I got me. We got us. Even if the Democrat and Republican parties abandon us as Black people, I got Black people. Do you understand that? And it's a certain mindset. You have to get to that point. It's a certain level of confidence. Like, it's like climbing a mountain of consciousness, right? You got a lot of people that claim to be woke. They're woke, but they're not conscious. You got some people that are even conscious who claim to be woke and conscious, but they're not fully conscious. So for me, my journey of consciousness was when I got to the point where I said, I'm okay. I don't really need white people to approve of anything that I do, because I got me, I got my people. I'm good. I am good. Do you understand? I got a call. I've gotten calls from so many mainstream shows. The Oprah Winfrey Network called me a few years ago. I had no problem walking away from that. I got a call from the Red Table Talk 2 weeks ago. It was okay that it wasn't a fit. I didn't feel offended because I got everything I need. Everything I need is right here in my communities, to the point where whoever gets elected, I feel like I'm going to be okay. I feel like my people that have their mind right are going to be just fine. Those of you who are investing for your future, those of you who are taking care of your kids, those of you who are looking out for each other, the men who are reading books and supporting and loving the Black women around them are going to be fine. The women who are making smart decisions and not falling for the Cardi B type bullshit that's out here, like I think you're going to be fine. And who becomes president is going to be not inconsequential completely, but somewhat inconsequential, right? Like for example, they talk about, well, Trump's going to start a war. Well, I mean, he hasn't started one. Obama did. Obama went and bombed Libya. He bombed Africans. Like, what? Explain that. Like, what? How did that happen? How did Gaddafi end up dead? I thought Gaddafi was a great leader. Like, what? Explain what's going on with that, right? So I'm just sitting there trying to tell you that I think that we should know the difference between what is true and what is not, right? What is real and what isn't. So let me keep going. I'm gonna keep going down this list of negotiation tips. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, when you talk about negotiation, he says, aim high and expect the best outcome. He says successful negotiators are optimists. He says, if you expect more, you'll get more. A proven strategy for achieving higher results is opening with an extreme position. Sellers should ask for more than they expect to receive. Buyers should offer less than they are prepared to pay. People who aim higher do better. So I want you to ask yourself, give me a yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Do you think that Black people in our negotiation with the Democratic Party, because that's what it is, it's a negotiation. You want our vote, we need something from you. In this negotiation with the Democratic Party, do you think we aim high or aim low? Now, don't answer the yes or no, high or low. Do you think Black people aim high in the negotiation, that we ask for everything we deserve? Or do you think that we aim low and we take whatever they offer us? Give me a high or low in the chat. Like, do you think that we aim high for the highest and the best, or do we aim low and just accept whatever crumbs and scraps they kind of drop on us? What do you think? Okay, I see Rich Sanders says high. Karika says low. I'm seeing some lows. I think it's low. I think that what we ask for is we ask for protection. If you listen to the Biden-Harris ad, it was really fascinating how they spoke deeply about the things that trigger Black people the most. So they talked about protecting you, right? Which means I'm responding to your fear. I'm not responding to your dreams and your desires to do better. I'm not drawing a vision of a better community. I'm going to take the stuff that we've deliberately in media triggered you with, that we've been scaring the shit out of you with, right? Like, we've been using police shootings to scare the hell out of you, right? To the point where a lot of you are afraid to let your son walk out of the house because you're scared he's going to get shot by a cop. And I hate to burst your bubble on this, but I think the number of Black men actually murdered by cops it's like less than 50 a year or something like that. It's not a massive number. There are other things you should be afraid of with your son. Like, so for example, I know a lot of Black men who've been shot in the hood by other Black men. I know a lot of Black men who've been locked up for mass incarceration policies. I think that's a very real fear. I don't see police shootings as necessarily the number one threat to the death of a Black man. A lot of your sons, when they die, are going to die from things like heart disease, strokes, and diabetes, rather than some cop deciding to pop a cap in him, right? And it's not me saying that it's not there, but go look it up. Don't believe me. Go look up the number of Black men per year murdered by the police. It's not 100,000. It's not 50,000. It's not 10,000. It's like maybe 38 or 40 or so. It's some tiny, because think about this, right? Every time a police shooting occurs or somebody's shot by the cops, it becomes a big national issue. And usually there's one big shooting that occurred that is put in the media once every 2 weeks, right? So the shootings are a problem, right? They're a real issue in the sense that they should be dealt with, but they're not the dominant issue. The dominant issue is the stuff that they don't talk about. It's the stuff that's happening beneath the surface. It's the stuff that you're not made aware of because mainstream media isn't talking about it, right? The stuff that you want to really think about is like stuff that happened to my uncle. My uncle was like my older brother. I talk about him all the time because I want you to know why this is very personal for me, why I'm so deeply offended by mass incarceration, is because I saw my uncle, who was my number one role model. I look up to him. I used to follow him around, and he was my favorite person on the planet, my number one person on the planet, even bigger in my mind than my father in terms of who I just loved and looked up to and followed around. Well, he went to prison when he was about 17. And when he was in prison, He was 17 because he beat up a white boy. I think that's what they locked him up for. Next thing I know, he's gone, right? I used to go to his house every Saturday. He'd make me pancakes and popcorn on Friday night, pancakes on Saturday morning. Suddenly he's gone, right? So they take away my role model, right? He goes off to prison. He's a kid going into a grown man fucking prison. In this prison, they are beating his ass. In this prison, he's probably getting raped. In this prison, they are traumatizing him at a level where he never recovered. For the next 30 years, he was all fucked up in the head because he went into one of those Joe Biden, Bill Clinton concentration camps, and he never got over that. He never got better. And so what I'm saying to you is that this is the real trauma. This is one of those things that is happening on a systemic level, on a broad level, right? So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of men and women who are going through this. And that is a bigger issue for you to be concerned about than the one guy who got killed by the cop. The one guy who got killed by the cop, that's really bad. But really, the worst crime against humanity actually would have occurred if he wasn't killed by the cop and they hauled him off to the concentration camps where they're beating and raping and destroying these men for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Okay. So I'm hoping that I can convince people that are at least trying to think this through, really trying to solve problems, to really know what you need to focus on. Don't just focus on what they tell you to focus on, because they're gonna they're trying to get what they want to get. They want to get their votes, right? So with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, I watched their ad. I pay attention to words very carefully. Even before I met Ice Cube, the reason I was actually interested in talking to him is because I've always listened to him as a rapper, and I listen to artists' lyrics very closely to understand what's going on in their mind. What kind of person are you? And it really does. There is a connection. Artists put, like, it's like, for example, if you watch me on my podcast every day, you kind of know me. I meet a lot of you and you know me really well already. And I'll be like, yeah, well, let me tell you a story about something that happened when I was in the 10th grade. And the person will be like, oh yeah, I know that story. You told that story. I'll be like, oh, that's right. I forgot. Right. So a lot of times artists and passionate people like myself, we pour our heart and soul and who we are into what we do and how we do things. So what I will say to you is that when I watched the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden ad, I was looking and analyzing all the words and language they use. And so what they did is a common tactic that's used actually in a capitalist society. You create a problem and then you solve it. You create a villain and then you make yourself the hero, right? Like the grocery store, how the grocery store will sell you the diabetes food. They'll sell you the donuts at the front of the store and then sell you diabetes medication in the back, right? Like, so I create a problem and then I solve it. The way Hitler gained power in Germany was he did a false flag operation. He blew up one of the government buildings. He blamed it on a rebel group. They gave him a bunch of power so he could go solve this problem. And that is what allowed him to have power over all of Germany. So a lot of times they do the same tactic with you. They'll talk incessantly about one guy that got killed by the cops to the point where you're triggered, you're traumatized, you're scared. You're thinking, oh my God, if I walk outside and I see a cop, he's probably thinking he's going to kill me today, and whatever, right? And the only reason I don't respond to that is because I know a lot of cops. I know the really bad ones, but I know a lot of really good ones. And I never got the impression that most cops get up in the morning thinking, how can I go kill somebody and go to prison today, right? How can I go find as many black people as possible and make sure I murder them today? That's just not what I saw. My dad was a cop for 25 years. And our big fear was that he might go out and run into a gangster or a killer or a dope dealer who didn't want him to come home to his family that night. That's what our biggest concern was. So they talk a lot in the Democratic Party ads about protecting you. We'll protect you from the police shootings. We'll protect you from what was the other one? Oh, COVID. We'll protect you from COVID, right? Because COVID, we convinced you that the number one threat to the safety of black people is police shootings and COVID. But those who actually look at statistics like I do, or who are thinkers, are like, no, actually, those are not the things that are killing black people the most. But if I distract you by solving unnecessary problems, then I can have an excuse for not solving the real problems, right? So if you say to me like, hey, actually, we really want you to deal with that $13 trillion reparations issue. We want you to we want funding for black businesses and black owned schools. And we want a few other things. If I come to them with that, they're going to say, well, look, we're going to protect you from COVID and we're going to protect you from police shootings. Like, isn't that enough? What more do you people want, right? So you can't let people distract you from the big things by blowing up the little things, right? Like I think it's okay to push the little things off the table and say thank you. We assume that you're going to protect us from COVID because you should, and I'm going to protect myself by wearing a mask and social distancing. But here's what I really need, and that's where the lack of respect comes out. Is that they're not really listening to you. They're telling you what you should want, right? They're creating the problem and solving it and saying, this is what you need from us, right? When really it should be the other way around. They should be asking us, what do you need from us? And they don't do that. They don't do that. It's literally the cart dragging the horse. It's literally me showing up with exactly what I want to give you and convincing you that that's what you want, when really that's what I wanted to give you. That was all I was going to give you anyway. So you better want what I'm offering, because that's all you're going to get. Okay, so going deeper into negotiation, here are a couple other tips in case you want these. He says also focus on the other side's pressures, not yours. He says we have a tendency to focus on our own pressure, on the reasons why we need to make a deal. It's the old story about the grass being greener on the other person's backyard. If you fall into this trap, you are working against yourself. The other side will appear more powerful. When you focus on your own limitations, you miss the big picture. So what he's basically saying to Black people, or he's saying in general for negotiation, but this applies to Black people, is that, when you're constantly focusing on your fear of Trump, then they got you. If they get you focused more on your fear and your insecurities, than focusing on their fear and their insecurities, then they got you. They got you. If I get you focusing more on your limitations and to the point where you think I'm perfect, and I got you defending yourself, then I win. I win. Right? That's why actually there's a movie called Get Me Roger Stone, and it shows like the dirty tricks that are used by some of the Republicans in politics, and the Democrats and Republicans use these dirty tricks. And one of their rules is never defend, always attack. If somebody attacks you, you don't defend shit. We're not focused on what's wrong with me. We're gonna focus on what's wrong with you. Have you ever been in an argument with somebody where you're like, well, this is what you did, like what you did to me was messed up. And then they're like, yeah, but it ain't about me. We ain't talking about me. We're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about what you did, right? And that back and forth occurs because they know that if I can get you on the defensive, then I win. So when they come to you and they get you to look at the negotiation as, oh my God, we got to get Trump out of office. Well, my position is I ain't got to do shit. It sounds like you got to get Trump out of office. It sounds like that's your problem. So given that that's your problem and that's your insecurity, because I'm good, I'm chilling right now. I could do another 8 years of this. I don't care. The first 4 years didn't bother me. I mean, there's a lot of drama on TV, but none of that TV shit affected me. You want to build a wall with Mexico? Go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. I'm Black. I ain't Mexican. Why in the hell am I gonna be mad because this man want to go build a wall with Mexico? Shit, I don't like illegal immigration either. That takes away jobs from Black people. It dilutes the Black vote. Why in the hell am I as a Black person gonna support your endless immigration policy when it's working against me? You really think I'm dumb enough to vote against my own interests? Are you really you really think that we're stupid? So basically, when you negotiate, you have to stop worrying, stop being so goddamn insecure, stop being so scary. Stop being so like, oh, we need to go and make sure we support them because if they don't, so we don't support them, they're gonna come get us, yo. We gonna die, right? And then you got the people on TV who are like, you better show up and vote because if you don't vote, then terrible things are gonna happen to Black people. I kid you not, I literally had a Black person who said to me, I swear to God, she said she got mad. She got really offended because of the conversations that we have. And she said, you need to stop that because Trump is going to put us in concentration camps. I said, what? And she's like, yeah. I said, which concentration camps is he, like, where are these concentration camps? And what's really? Like the thing about Black people that makes us so adorable to the rest of the world is that some of y'all Negroes scare so easily. Like it's like some Black folks are just born bug-eyed. Like, oh Lord, it's scary being Black, y'all. It's scary. and that's perpetuated in media. Anybody remember? I saw on Living Color where they did a skit where they were kind of making fun of Richard Pryor a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. And basically, they were making fun of the fact that in almost every movie, he would always be scared of something. He was always scared, and him being scared was funny, right? So I think Damon Wayans did the skit, and the Wayans are really smart. They're one of the smartest families in terms of entertainment. Like they're so good at what they do, and so Damon Wayans was playing Richard Pryor, and they handed him a box of cereal, and he's like, ah! And then he hands an ink pen, ah! 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 Like we just kind of think that fear is supposed to be our natural state of existence. And you can't get power if you live in your life in fear. You just can't. You can't, you really, when you're talking about negotiation, when you're talking about looking eye to eye with somebody, especially somebody that is an historical oppressor, one of the most savage beasts in the history of all mankind, you need to be able to look that person in the eye and say, I have no fear of you. I'm not afraid of you. And the way I see the political negotiation happening in America is that we're scared and powerless. Some of us are, not all of us. We feel scared and powerless, and we need a white person. We need a group of white people to protect us from the scarier white people, right? So we look at the Republicans and we're just mortified. Like we're scared to death. What is Trump going to do? He's going to exterminate black people. He's going to come in with an AK-47 and murder all of us tomorrow and put us all in chains and we all going to die. Like Joe Biden has actually said that. I don't know if y'all have remembered Joe Biden. Go look it up, Google it. If I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden said something like, the Republicans will have you all in chains. Anybody remember that? Give me a yes or no if you remember that. Let me see if I can find it. Let me make sure I didn't misquote him. Joe Biden will have you in chains. Let me see if I can find it on Google real quick. Yeah. So Joe Biden said this a few years ago. I think it was when he was campaigning with Obama, and he said that the Republicans will have you back in chains. And that sort of desire to keep black people afraid is what I call like the bigger pimp theory, which is basically saying like, yeah, we're your pimp. We're going to oppress you, but we're protecting you. Most people that want to control you, they actually disguise their desire to control you by claiming that they're actually there to protect you. Like when you move into a mafia neighborhood back in the day and you want to start a business, and the mafia was going to come in and take a piece of your business, what they would come in is they would sell you protection. They'd be like, hey, we want to sell you protection. If you pay us, we'll make sure that nobody attacks your business and nobody comes and say, I don't know, bust out all your windows, or we'll make sure that no one comes by and breaks both of your legs, or we'll make sure that nobody comes by and say, I don't know, decides to murder your whole entire family, right? And so a lot of times you might think that the people that are protecting you are your friends, when really they are your pimps. Really, they are basically saying, we'll stop you from we'll keep those people from exploiting you so that we can exploit you. Let us exploit you. Let us rape you, and we'll protect you from the rapist who doesn't use Vaseline, right? And that's what black people have to kind of be aware of, and just understand that these people ain't your friends. They are not your friends. If they were your friends, then would your schools and your businesses and your communities have eroded under Democratic Party rule? Seriously, I'm just asking, just keep it 100. If they were your friends, would they ignore you every time you bring up the important issue of reparations? Would they act like you didn't even say it? Seriously, if they were your friends, would they want to come and bitch slap you just because you had a conversation with a Republican? Like, we don't even want you to have a conversation. Seriously, if they really wanted your freedom, would they really be telling you that you can't even have a conversation? If that is what freedom looks like, then I don't want it. That ain't freedom when somebody tells you what you are and are not allowed to do. That's 1 + 1 = 2 type logic. That ain't calculus. That ain't even algebra. You don't need a PhD to understand anything that I just said. A 4-year-old can understand that. Mommy, if you said that I can do what I want, then why do you keep telling me what to do? Right? Seriously. So I think that with all of this, I'm speaking on this issue because I think it's very important for those of us who get it or can at least appreciate this perspective, to at least respect and support. I mean, whether it's talking about Ice Cube, or it could be somebody else. It doesn't have to be Ice Cube. Him and his team, and it's not just him. He's got scholars and experts all around him that are advising him. He's not just coming in, act like he knows all the answers. If they want to go over across the river and have a conversation, and yeah, they're gonna get used, right? They're gonna get fucking used. That's what politicians do. They're going to try to get black votes. Absolutely. Right? That's like think about this, ladies. Like, have you ever had it where there's some guy that's calling you and he's sending you flowers and he's being really nice to you, and there's some jealous dude, some jealous, insecure guy, your ex-boyfriend's like, well, he's only buying you flowers because he's trying to get some ass. Or he's only nice to you because he's trying to get some. The only reason he took you to that fancy restaurant is because he's trying to get in your pants. Well, a part of you might be like, yeah, and it's kind of working. Like, yeah, he might actually achieve his goal. Maybe if you did the same thing, you might have been able to get into my pants too, right? So it's not a crime that they want something out of the deal. It's not a crime that he's trying to get in your pants, right? Because last time I checked, sex was a two-way street. Men and women enjoy sex. It ain't just something men enjoy, right? But smart men are willing to put in the work. Right. So what I'm saying is that politicians are going to want votes. I'm sure that the Republicans are sitting here saying, how do we leverage this? We're trying to beat Biden. We really need to find a way to get some black support, right? Okay, let's meet with this guy, Ice Cube, and let's see what we can figure out, right? The problem obviously is credibility, right? Because he's never done any of these things, right? So the platinum plan from Trump, the worst part of that plan is that he never did any of this the first 4 years he was in office. So I don't believe anything that he says about what he's going to do. So there is a huge risk in that regard, right? But let's just be clear. They're meeting with him not because they just have this incessant love of black people, not because they just want what's best for the black community. No, because they're doing what rational human beings do. They're negotiating. They're like, okay, all right, what we got to give you, man? All right, we got to write a check for half $1 trillion. Well, okay, fine. Like, what will you help us get what we need, and we'll help you get what you need, right? The only problem is that there's a credibility issue on both sides of the aisle. It ain't just a Trump problem; it's a Biden problem too. You can't believe any of these people. You can't believe any of them. Both of them are doing the same thing. Trump's side is saying, here's our platinum plan. When I get reelected, we're going to pursue the platinum plan, and we're going to make sure that all black people are doing well, and there's a chicken in every pot, and every black business has all the money that it needs, right? The Biden campaign has pretty much said to Ice Cube and others, look, we don't want to talk about that black stuff now. We don't want to talk about reparations now. We're not going to talk about that now, but get us elected, and then we'll talk about it after the election. Well, then what you're creating there's a whole financial theory around this. I kid you not. It's called moral hazard. What you're doing right there is you're creating what is called a moral hazard problem. There are thousands of research papers written about the moral hazard problem. And what the moral hazard problem basically says is this. It says that when I have leverage, that's when I have power. When I have something you need, all the power is in my favor. The minute you don't need me anymore, I have shifted all my power over to you. It's the same reason why ladies have to be careful. Maybe in college, you could think about a horny frat boy who tells you everything you want to hear because he's trying to get some. And then as soon as he gets some, he ain't calling you back, right? That you ran into what is called the moral hazard problem. Or fellas who, if you've ever heard men complain, like, man, before we got married, she used to look good and the sex was good and she used to treat me real well. And then we got married and then she just let herself go. She stopped doing her hair. She gained 80 pounds. She don't even treat me right no more. She won't cook for me, right? Well, you ran into the moral hazard problem. You ran into the moral hazard problem. The moral hazard problem means that once I give you the power, then suddenly I'm at risk of getting screwed. Anybody ever had a cousin that needed money really bad and called you and asked for a loan? Like, you ever see how contrite and polite people are and attentive people are when they need money from you? Like every time you call them, they pick up on the first ring, and whatever you need, they'll promise you everything. You could ask for their firstborn child and they will promise it to you because they just want you, okay, but can I get the $500? When can I get the money? Can you, and every time you text them, they text you right back, right? But then after you give them the money, when it's time to collect, now they're not answering the call on the first ring. They're not answering at all. And you're like, why didn't you call me back? oh, I was busy. I was in the middle of watching the football game. You know, or when you text them, they don't text you back, right? Or when you ask for your money and you're like, hey, you told me you were going to pay me by the 15th as soon as you got paid, and it's now the 18th and I haven't got my money yet. Then they cuss you out. They're like, well, if you keep talking like that, you ain't never going to get your money. That is what they call the moral hazard problem. Basically, they're talking shit to you now because they know they don't need you anymore. Right? So in this political negotiation with Ice Cube talking to Trump, Ice Cube talking to Biden, the moral hazard problem is huge. It's huge. Nobody knows what these politicians are going to do, especially once they've gotten the black vote. It's a very risky proposition. That's one of the reasons why I've just said, I'm not going to give my support. I'm definitely not giving an endorsement to either one of these people because I don't trust them. I don't trust that anything they promise means nothing to me. Like Joe Biden's promises mean nothing. Donald Trump's promises mean nothing. I think it's good negotiation, though, for Cube to talk to both sides because I like the fact that it's keeping everybody on edge and you keep everybody kind of watching because they don't get too comfortable, right? You don't want people to get too comfortable in that situation. So I love it. I think it's a wonderful thing. The only solution that exists, this is actually true. This is really true according to financial theory. The only solution to the moral hazard problem is what they call optimal contracting. Optimal contracting can help minimize the moral hazard problem when you do, because what it says basically is that you should make sure that while you have the power, that you do everything that you can to protect your interests so that you won't get screwed when the other person has all the leverage in their favor, right? So here's an example. When your cousin, your little raggedy ass cousin that don't never follow through on shit is begging you for money because he's about to get evicted and he done made you feel bad because y'all been cool since you were little and you kind of looked out for him. So you feel obligated because you're the only successful person in the family and you have survivor's guilt or whatever it is that's making you want to help him out. Well, what you could maybe do is set up a contract, like not a written contract, but literally it could be something like, okay, if you really want this money, then let me hold onto your car note. And if you don't pay me back, I own your car. I take possession of your car. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, cuz that ain't right. Come on, you can't do that. What, you don't trust me, cuz? No, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I just don't, because you're a liar. So I need you to give me a car note and the PlayStation. You got that PlayStation with all the games. I want the whole PlayStation and all the games and bring it over to my house, and I'm just gonna hold on to that. If you pay me back like you say you're going to pay me back, like, are you going to pay me back? Well, yeah, I'm going to pay you back. Okay, well, since you say you're going to pay me back, there's not a problem. Like you're not going to lose your car, you're not going to lose your PlayStation. Just let me hold it. Why is it a problem for me to just hold it? Right? Maybe it's a problem because even you know that you're running a game on me. You trying to run a game right now, and you're a little bit upset because I'm peeping out the game that you're playing with me. But I'm protecting myself. I'll listen to this crazy man named Dr. Boyce Watkins, who talked to me about something called moral hazard. And in his conversation, he said the solution to the moral hazard problem is optimal contracting, which means that I need to protect my interests now while I still have leverage instead of waiting until after the fact to try to get something from you that you have no incentive to give me. And that's the problem with when I think about the Biden campaign, when they say, okay, just go ahead and vote, and we'll talk after the election. They ain't gonna talk to you after the election. What incentive do the Democrats have to do anything nice for you after the election? You have no leverage after the election. They already done got the pussy. Like, why do they need to do anything for you after the election is over? They have no incentive at all, so they are not going to do anything. They don't even want to do anything for you while they need you. Like this, they need you the most right now, and they still ain't ready to do nothing. So if they're not doing nothing when they need you, what makes you think that they're suddenly going to start doing things for you when they don't need you at all? Some people ain't going to get this because I'm speaking a language that a lot of people don't understand, and the language is called logic. It is logic. I'm being emotional, but all this is based on logic, theory, science. This is all proven. Science of negotiation, science of moral hazard, science of optimal contracting. I'm breaking this down for you, and I'm explaining to you very clearly why this negotiation occurs in every election and why you always lose. Let me finish up right here. Let's finish talking about optimal negotiation. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, today at 2 p.m. Eastern, Dr. Claude Anderson, I will start the Powernomics Masterclass. So I'm actually going to get on out of here so I can go rest a little bit. If you want to join us, you can go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Use the code word podcast and you can get 30% off. The code word is podcast, powernomicsmasterclass.com. Okay. The last 3 tips on negotiation, he says, number 8, show the other person how their needs will be met. So if you let them know, like, hey, if you give me what I want, you'll get what you want, then they're more likely to give you what you want. So I would say to the Democrats, look, you're looking for the black vote. I want to get you the black vote. Just pay for it, like earn it. Do what you're supposed to do. Do something for black folks, and you can have the black vote, right? And then you won't have to worry about another Donald Trump presidency. That's your worry. That's your concern. That's not my concern. A Donald Trump presidency does not scare me. It scares you. I can help alleviate that fear, right? You turn the tables on them, right? The same way they're telling you, we'll protect you from COVID. We'll protect you from police shootings. We'll protect you, which is kind of ironic given that both Kamala and Joe kind of built their whole careers on incarceration. But that's a whole nother discussion. We'll talk about that later. But instead, I flip the discussion. I say, no, actually, I don't really need protection. You do, though. My God, you are so scared of Trump. Like, Trump has really triggered the hell out of you, hasn't he? So I will protect you from another 4 years of a Trump presidency. Just give me a reparations package like ASAP. Give me one yesterday. T.I. said, we need that reparations package expeditiously. Like expeditiously. Write up that reparations bill and push that thing through expeditiously. And then we can talk about me protecting you from Trump because you need the black vote. We're going to focus on what you need, not what I need. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. I don't really care much about what you're going to tell me you're going to do for me because I don't need you to tell me that. I'll tell you what you're going to do for me. So then I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. Excuse me. That's how you gain leverage in a negotiation. Where does some of this come from? I don't know. You guys may know this, maybe you don't. But I'm a really good poker player. I don't like to gamble, but I love the game of poker because it's a great game of strategy, psychology, and math. And one of the things about poker is that you have to know when to push the leverage in your favor as opposed to the other person. So a lot of this is coming, this whole negotiation, this whole strategy thing is coming from my poker experience. When you're sitting there and you're eye to eye with somebody and playing against them, you're constantly thinking like, okay, if I'm going to enter into this duel with this person, I need to find a way to get them to focus on their insecurities rather than me focusing on mine. I need to get them backpedaling instead of getting me backpedaling. They need to be on the defensive, not me, because that's how you win. That's how you win in poker. That's how you win in negotiation. That's how you win in politics. That's how you win in life. So take charge. Take the rein. Take the horse by the reins. Like, stop being scared. Stop shucking and jiving and being bug-eyed and scared and always being triggered all the time. Stand up, especially you black men. Stand up and be a man. And I think that what Donald Trump and Joe Biden and all these other people are so shocked by is they're shocked by the emergence of black men. They're shocked by black men like maybe Ice Cube or Tariq Nasheed or a few other black men who are just saying, no, like, this is not how it's going to go down. We are not whoever that politician was that got caught up in the hotel room with the male stripper. I forgot Gilliam. This ain't no Gilliam type stuff. Manhood has walked in the building. Daddy's home now, and we're not letting you trigger our little insecurities and fears to get us to give you something for free, because that's honestly, and a lot of the ladies, I mean, some of the women are standing up stronger than the men are, and I think that shouldn't be the case. I think the men should be standing right next to the women, and I applaud you. I applaud. In fact, actually, we should take a second to give ourselves a round of applause for standing up for our people. Like, so clap for yourself. Seriously, like, I really am so proud of all the black people that are fully invested in what I see as a revolution. Like I think right now you're in the middle of an economic revolution where we are taking charge of our economic destiny. It's going to take time. Most of the effects you won't see for another 30, 40, 50, 100 years, but it's working, right? Also, we're taking charge of our political destiny. Right now, we might feel like the minority. Right now, there's a whole lot more church-going, the hardcore Democratic folks, Black elite folks watching Roland Martin talk about why we need to all go vote for Biden. Then there are people sitting over here with me talking about why we should really hold our vote and expect something in exchange, right? So they're right now, the majority works in their favor. But I'm telling you, like a determined minority can eventually take the lead in the conversation. Because let me tell you about the oppressed Negro. The oppressed Negro doesn't really know who he is. The oppressed Negro, the oppressed, bug-eyed, scared to death Negro who feels like they got to stick with the status quo. The status quo Negro doesn't have a lot of confidence. The status quo Negro needs white people to tell him that he's worthy for him to feel worthy, right? Seriously, think about this. The status quo Negro is the one who's chasing the white man's job. He's the one trying to live in the white man's neighborhood. He's the one that's constantly triggered by microaggressions from white people. He's the one who's trying to get validation from white people. So he's living on an emotional deficit that many of you have overcome. So you are the next evolution. You are Black people 2.0. Like you are a bigger, better, bolder, stronger Black person, and they don't know what to do with you. Right now, they're adjusting. They're getting mad at you. They're just upset. Like, what the hell? What is this? All this pro-Black talk. What you mean Black first? That's racist. How can you say Black first? Right? They're not used to that, right? But they can't undermine what we're saying. They can't argue with the logic here that maybe Black people need to put ourselves in an equal priority to what we put white people, right? Like they can't argue with that. They just know how to get mad, right? That's why you'll see old Roland, poor guy. He better. I hope Roland's exercising because that man might pass out one day from a heart attack because he just gets so mad. These dumbasses out here, if you don't vote, you don't count. If you da-da-da, right? And he's getting so angry because that's all they have. They don't have any real logic to really back what they're saying. They are also, because that self-esteem issue is there, they are cursed with low expectations. They are hit with the curse of low expectations. The curse of low expectations is that whole like, I'm just biding my time. I'm just gonna go along to get along. Mr. Biden said we got to go to the polls after we go to church today. Cause we got to make sure that this Trump get out of office. Yes, Lord. Yes, we do. Right? That's where they are. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I probably offended some people by saying that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. They're not really clear in understanding, the mindset of a warrior. They're not clear in understanding the mindset of a builder. They're not builders. They're integrators. Right? They're borrowers, they're beggars. And that's what it is, right? They can go and borrow and beg and give me a job, right? Notice, pay attention. Democrats, when those two guys were rapping and playing basketball on the Joe Biden ad, I don't know if anybody else saw that ad where Joe Biden had two brothers on the basketball court and they were rapping and playing basketball because I guess that's what Black men do in our spare time. All of us do that apparently. And they were rapping. They weren't rapping about starting businesses. They were rapping about getting jobs. They weren't rapping about building Black-owned schools. They were rapping about white people building better schools for them, right? So you're talking about when you talk about the Negro 1.0 versus Black man, Black woman 2.0, right? The old-fashioned kind of Negro is the person that is a little bit like a domesticated house cat. Right? They're not prepared to go survive in the wild. They're not prepared to go hunt for their own food. They're not prepared to know how to stand up and fight. They need to be taken care of. They need to be protected, right? And so, and when you threaten them with fear, that you're going to take away their protection, then that's all they know how to react to. They don't react to desire. They react to fear. So it's their strategy in getting those people to vote is absolutely 100% correct. What I'm looking for, and which is why I don't really want every Black person to listen to me because I'm going to upset a lot of people, is I want people that want something a little bit better. I like the pioneers in the community. I want the people that say, let's push some envelopes. Let's get out of our comfort zone a little bit. Let's try some new things. Let's take a second and imagine what the world would be like if we actually built our own and did some things by ourselves, as opposed to waiting for a white man to show up with training wheels so that we can find a way to get where we're trying to go to. Right? So I get it. Like, I totally get it. It's really a difference in ideology. I believe, in my view, my personal bias is that I see you all as the talented 10th. Like, you're the ones who are gonna shape the future for a big segment, big swath of the Black community. And because the low self-esteem, scared Negro, the traditionalist Negro who's just gonna kind of go along to get along, who's just biding his time, because that person doesn't have the courage you have, their children will be working for your children. They don't know how to set the trend. They only know how to follow the trend. And so at the end of the day, strength wins. At the end of the day, in this world, people respond to power, people respond to strength. I care far less about whether or not somebody likes me than I care about the fact that you know that I'm fucking here. Like, I don't care if you like me. I don't care. I don't need you to tell me I'm a good person. I don't need you to tell me that I'm a handsome man. My woman tells me I'm handsome. My mama tells me she loves me. I know that I am worthy. I don't need you to tell me that I'm smart. I knew I was smart before I met you. I just, at the end of the day, all I pay attention to, this is me telling on myself a little bit, all I do in the back of my brain is I say, yeah, you hate me, but I'm here. Yeah, you hate me, but you saw me, didn't you? Yeah, you're mad because you know that what I'm saying is true. Yeah, you're upset. You're calling me a dumbass because you really know how much smarter I am than you, and you're pissed off because you and I both know that that's true, right? So at the end of the day, don't wait for these people to love you. Don't wait for these people to cheer for you. Don't wait for these people to open doors for you. Just make sure they fucking know that you're here. Like, whatever side you pick, whoever the hell you are, make sure they know that you are here. If you do that, then you're paving the way for your children. You're paving the way for a better community. You're disrupting the apple cart. You're shaking things up. You're going to get people to rethink their whole approach to the whole Black community, and you are winning. So type winning in the chat, because you are winning. You are the trailblazers. You are the leaders. And I just want to applaud you for that, because I don't think that we take enough time to really do that. So keep winning. That's it. That's all I got to say. I got to go, guys. I'm about to go upstairs and rest. The Powernomics thing starts at 2:00. So if you want to join us, feel free to go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. The code word is podcast. You can get 30% off if you want to join Dr. Anderson and I. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button before you go. And please share this on your social media page, because I think other people need to hear these other sides of the conversation. This is the side of the discussion that media doesn't want out there. And you guys are our distribution network. We don't have $1 billion like Viacom, but we got $10 billion worth of spirit, power, energy, and Black excellence. So if you guys could maybe give me a confirmation in the chat, just say yes in the chat. If you can promise me that you'll take this link and just put it on your Facebook page, just share it with somebody so other people can just hear the other point of view. I would really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys soon. Be good. Peace.